what assumption would you like them to make about your business? So this is taking some time. This will take some time. You won't necessarily get this right away in this class, for example, but I'd love for you to start just writing down some of those keywords. Some of those keywords that really, if someone on the street, a stranger on the street, or someone that is buying from you already, you would love for them to say, her business is really, is really quirky, or his business is really professional and efficient. Think about those words that you want to make sure that you are getting across, that personality, that feel for your brand. So one of my favorite examples, and this is quite a classic example to be fair, is Innocent. So Innocent Smoothies, I delight in their copy. It's absolutely fantastic. And this is a really good example of the use of copy in packaging, which again is a place that we don't really think about. We don't think, oh yeah, that's where I'm going to do my best copywriting. But actually, Innocent use it in a brilliant way to be able to get their messages across. So one of these messages is all about recycling. So normally a brand would just have that little box that says I'm recyclable. But Innocent actually have turned it into this lovely little story, this quirky little story about the bottle and about, how you can be friends with the bottle, and then how you can put it into the recycling bin afterwards. And then again, they've got about their values. They've got about what's important to them on the other side. So this is really showing I really think it's quirky. I think this is the best way to describe Innocent. They're quirky, fun, look, we don't take ourselves too seriously, but actually we've got some really important values here. Some really important values around being recyclable, about using pure ingredients and not forcing it onto people. So that's one way, that's one sort of brand. And then I also wanted to kind of pull something that was a bit more serious. So you've got Starling, they're a bank. And actually, the way that their copy is written is very to the point. It's friendly, but it's professional. It says to you, some of the design says that it's quite modern, but the things that they're saying are very clear and to the point. They wouldn't have a story. You wouldn't see a piece of Starling literature have a story like the Innocent brand. And yet they work because they're tailored to their audience and they're tailored to what they're selling. And they're also tailored to what their business values are. And so that's where you're really putting across that personality. You really want to share, okay, this is who we are. So that's the first part, is all about personality and deciding to intentionally say, this is who my brand is as a business. And this is the message that I want to be, this is a style that I want to be getting across. So the next kind of tip, if you like, around copy is about grabbing their attention. You have a very short amount of time to grab someone's attention. You can write all the most beautiful words in the world, but in that initial instance, if you cannot grab someone's attention in a very short amount of words, then you've lost them and they'll go on to the next website, or they'll scroll onto the next social media post, or they'll look at the next leaflet, flyer, whatever it is that they're looking for. So these are some actual email headers that I received. And I'm just going to very quickly say what it is that I like about each of them and why I pulled these out and why these ones caught my attention. So the first one, don't have a success story yet, no epic journey, read this, because that caught my attention because it's counterintuitive to the advice that everyone in the industry says. So I could have come into this course today and told you that you have to have this beautiful story that starts that starts in a bad place and goes to, you hit the bottom and then you go right up and suddenly there's a win and life is wonderful again. So this caught my attention because it was saying the exact opposite of that. So for me, that caught my attention. I actually ended up reading the whole email and it was interesting. So the next one, the £3 sale is on. I like the use of personalization. So we're moving really on to the tactical things in this kind of stage, but really you're talking to me. I really like that. It's really clear. There's no fun fancy. There's a time for those stories, like the innocent story, but there's also a time in this moment, you're grabbing attention. If you're grabbing attention, clear, clean, easy, to the point, that's what we want to know. So that's what I really liked about that email. Same with the next one. We all love 5 steps, 3 steps, 3 tips. These are just, it's a classic, just gets to you, especially when you can tailor that to your audience. So apparently my my perspective is I want to lose fat in my midsection. Not quite true, but that's what they're going for in that email. So I really like the specificity. More specific that you can be in your copy, especially when you're in those attention grabbing stages, the more you're going to capture someone. And like I said, this caught my attention. Losing fat in my midsection is not something that is necessarily important to me, but it caught my attention because it was specific. So don't be afraid. A lot of people are quite afraid to go too specific and alienate other people. But actually, when you go to a more specific place, people will feel more related. It feels more relatable. If I just told you a story about, all people like to go to the beach and it's really lovely. That's not really gonna be exciting to you. But if I told you one day Susan went to the beach and she went and she paddled in the water, and while she was in the water she got bitten by a crab, and when she came out, her toe was bleeding, and so she needed this plaster to help her. That is a much more interesting story than that very generic sort of big picture idea. So make sure that you're moving down into those specifics. Sorry, I think my internet's a little bit jumpy. I loved this next one. You never knew you needed it until now. Curiosity. If you can spark someone's curiosity, it's golden. This one, I jumped straight on. And this email was about the garlic and herb dip that Domino's do. Apparently, they now do squeezy pots, 1 litre bottles. And I was like, this is amazing. This is brilliant. But that was a great headline that made me read the email. If they just sent an email saying, oh, we now do 1 litre bottles, I probably wouldn't have looked at it. But this one spiked my curiosity and I wanted to read more. So that's another good tactic that you can use when you are creating those headlines, or you're creating the hook, you're creating that first sentence so that you're sparking someone's interest. And then the final one, how can profit first work for me if I don't have regular revenue? This is great because it is using your common objections. So it's really important for you to know, why your customers buy, but also what's stopping them. So one of the things for Rebel is people go, it's a free course. Surely it's got no value if it's a free course. And then we explain to them, no, actually, this is why it's free, and this is how we overcome that. And, there's lots of other objections that we use for Rebel. But this one exactly addresses that. It goes straight in for the kill. So using that objection can be really, really powerful in your social media posts, in your emails, and on your website. So when you're creating headlines, using those objections in a non-aggressive way. So it's not like saying, oh, Don't you have a regular revenue? You're not making the person feel bad, but you're just highlighting that you understand what their issues are. So these were those email headers. And like I say, that's what I think. There's some really important points in those emails to help you with your copy. And then similar sort of thing. These are all different website headers. So the first one you might recognize is the Rebel one. We make starting a business possible for anyone and everyone. Really clear. You know, within 2 seconds of landing on Rebel's website that we're about starting a business and for it being for anyone and everyone. That's really clear, to the point. Same with local produce, bringing you the best that Surrey has to offer to a range of markets across the county. Again, really simple, really clear, to the point about what it is that website is about. Same with this, fill your basket, free delivery this Easter. So that was one for a printing website. So again, really, really clear. There's loads of extra things that each of these people, each of these companies could have added in. There's so much information that you could give to your audience when they're first landing on your website, they're first seeing your email, they're first seeing your social media post. At that very first instant, what you are trying to do is engage your lizard brain. So this is like the oldest part of the brain. I'm sure you've probably heard of it. It's that part that is fight and flight. And so basically with your messaging, that very first instance, that header, that grabbing that attention is either going to make them go, no, you make me really angry. I don't like that. So the get the only emails anyone likes anymore, that might really offend someone who's an email writer. You know, it might really offend someone who is a marketing agency because they're like, what the hell? People like my emails. Or you might look at it and you might flight. You might go, oh my God, that sounds crazy. That's not for me. That's too, they're too in your face. Or one thing I hear a lot is they're too American. It's too American. We've got objections that we go, no, I don't like that. That's not for me. Or the final one, which is what we want, these are the people we want, is it's like a mate, is what the lizard brain calls it, is mate. But really in the business context, it's, oh, I like these people. Oh, I like what they're about. Cool. I want to know more. So that's what this hook is really about. It's about engaging that lizard brain so that you are repelling the people that are going to go, no, you make me angry, or no, I'm a bit intimidated by you, and attracting those people who are right for you, those people who really who are going to get to know you, who are right for your products, who are right for your personality. Because that's the thing, is some of us are in some of you, I imagine, are in very competitive industries. There's lots of choice. And so really what they're choosing is, do I like this person? Is this business, is their ethos in alignment with mine? And so it can take some time to build these, but really having that clear-cut headline is really, really powerful. Because once you've engaged that, once someone's brain, and it's unconscious, you don't realize that you've done it, and you go, oh, yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's for me. Once you've engaged that, then you can give them more information. Then they want more of the facts. Then they want more of the success stories. Then they want more about you. But in this initial stage, it's that very clean, clear, do I like it? Do I not? So and then the middle one was also innocent, which I found really interesting, is their headline on their website is, read all about how we're getting fruit and veg to those who need it. And I really liked that, because it's not about their product. It's about what they're doing for the world, and so it's really putting the fact that society and what they're giving back is really what's most important to them. Yes, they want to make great juice for us, but actually that's really important to them. So I really liked that as an alternative for those of you who are actually, your main focus might be about how you are doing good. It might be what you're giving back rather than actually what your product is. So that's just for those of you that kind of suits. So that's grabbing their attention. And that's, as I say, that's so key, because you grab their attention, they think, yeah, I like you, I'm ready to work with you. And then we're going to tell them a story. But like I said in that at the beginning, with that bringing your personality across, you can tell those big dramatic stories. You know, those ones that go from, I was at my lowest low and then I did this and now I'm at my highest high and life is wonderful. You can tell those stories, and they are really powerful, especially when you're talking about testimonials, especially when you're looking for press. Press love a good, I was in the deepest, darkest depths of my life and suddenly I discovered this thing and now my life is great and I'm helping all these people and life is wonderful. So yes, you know, those big dramatic stories are great, but also little relatable ones can be really powerful too. So this is a long story and I'm not expecting you to read it at all whatsoever. This is that long story. This is one of my friends, Caitlin. This is her about page. It's lovely. It's, you know, it's got the lows, it's got the highs, it's got the personality, it's got her why. It's really, it goes into exactly why she does what she does. She's a burnout coach. So it really talks about, you know, how her experiences have shaped her, how she uses those experiences to then help others. And now this is what she's doing to help other people. And this is what she offers as a product. So it's one of those nice, big, dramatic stories. But then on the other side is this story, which I just thought was fantastic. This is from a lady, Laura Bell Gray. She's possibly one of the world's top copywriters. She's absolutely amazing. And she will put a story in anything, which I really love. And so I hadn't opened her emails for a while. And I saw that she had done a re-engagement campaign to say, hey, you haven't opened your these emails in a while. Do you still want to stay on the list? So I clicked yes, because I do like reading them, but sometimes you get a bit behind. And I got this. So this is the page to say, yes, I still want to stay on your list. So she put phew, that was close. Congrats, you're still in the running to be America's Next Top Model. I mean, you're still on my list. Sorry, I watched a lot of America's Next Top Model in the early 20s. That was really early, in the early 2000s, and still have Tyra Banks' go-to line in my head. Thanks for staying. I knew my love for you wasn't a one-way thing. So this is like a really nice little insight into what she loves. It's not to do with her brand at all, but it's to do with the things she loves. It's quirky, it's fun, and it makes you feel valued, because actually you're like, oh, I can get on board with that. Okay, I never watched America's Next Top Model, but I have watched some trash TV that's quite like that. So yeah, I feel like she gets me. I feel like she could be someone that's like me. And so that's what I'm saying about, you can have those big dramatic stories and they're really powerful for press and they're really powerful for success stories and case studies. But using these smaller stories, peppering them throughout. So peppering them throughout the words on your website, peppering them throughout when you're writing copy for your social media, throughout even when you're writing comments, or I know I'm talking about copy, but even when you're just talking with people about your business, having those things that people can relate to you on that aren't necessarily completely related to your business, but say that you understand your audience, you understand them, because you know that they're going to be quite similar to you. Like I said, I didn't watch America's Next Top Model, but I have watched some other trash TV that I could come up with those lines for. And it makes me feel like, okay, cool, we could be friends. Like, I like this. So that's what you're thinking about with the smaller stories. You pepper them throughout to make it relatable, to make it memorable, because we are story making machines. We most of us, the majority of us, we don't care about facts. We often use facts to justify our decisions, but really our brains work in stories, and they'll use that fact to tell the story of why your business is good, or what, what's important, what's important about the product that they're buying. But it's really just a justification. The most important thing to your brain is the story, and that feeling of belonging, that feeling of relatability, that feeling that you get it. So I've got a couple of social media post kind of examples to just show you very quickly, because I'm noticing that I've talked for a long time. So these examples, these are just a couple of examples. There's some rebel ones, which are just starting to tell those, which are telling those stories, or having that relatability, or having the call to action. So it's really important to have those call to actions. What's the next step? So tell the story, be relatable, and then you want the next step. Where do you go next? Same with this. I love this. This is Shaken Udder. They sell milkshakes. But what I loved is very much like Innocent. They're about promoting their sustainability agenda and showing that that's important to them, and that's also important to their customers. So it's really understanding what is important to your customers. If your customers don't care about sustainability, then you don't want to be talking about sustainability. If your customers care about sustainability, then you want to talk about it. It's a feature, something that's important. So yeah, it's really thinking about what's important to you, but also what's important to your customers. Now this one, again, you don't have to read this because it's long, but this was a really nice story about this lady, Martha. She runs a marketing agency, and it's a nice story, again, to show how relatable she is, to show how human she is. Very often we don't have very human brands, like this is the product, this is the product, this is the product, but actually having that human side can be really relatable. What did I love about this? I don't like that this is all one block text. I would definitely recommend breaking it up. That's kind of a design thing. But I really loved how, instead of just saying, hey, here's our advert, they told a story. And it's very quirky. They're a quirky brand, but they told a story around it rather than just saying, look at our billboard that we've got going on. And then again, this is the same. This is just another rebel post, which is, again, is giving you some advice. It's telling that story. So I'm just going to have a quick look, because I can see there's some stuff buzzing up in the chat. Anna, her name is Laura Bell Gray. Sorry, I said that I can pop that in the chat. Oh, actually, it's on my final slide as well. So I'll also pop that there. Yeah. Okay, so I'm very quickly, because I'm very conscious. I'm conscious that, oh no, we're all right on time. I just realised. So I'm going to go through. I've got 4 different examples, as long as I've got time to go through them, of your copy that you've written. So in the Rebel Alumni Facebook group, there is a post that I said yesterday, but if you pop on there now and you pop your piece of copy, so it could be a social media post, could be your website, could be anything that you've written, as long as it's not too long. I'm not reading books, sorry. But if you pop your copy on there, then I will give you a little review and just a little couple of pointers that I think will help you to write, to shift that to be more persuasive, to be more effective in engaging your audience, that sort of thing. So these ones that I've got are, as I say, they're 4 that we had from that I sent in nice and early, actually. Some of them, great, you got straight on there. So this one, tremendous Trey, TRE, I wanted to highlight for that, basically for the reason that I was talking about in the grabbing that attention. So this is a homepage. So the thing that shouts out to me is stress is associated with almost 90% of all illnesses and 80% of prescribed drugs sold. Now, that's a really interesting fact. It's a nice fact, but it doesn't tell me that you understand my issue. It doesn't tell me that you understand my problems. It doesn't tell me that you understand what's going on with me. Now, I know there is also the other question, but my eyes immediately, I don't know about anyone else's, but my eyes immediately go to that quote rather than the one on the side. And the one on the side says, are you holding too much tension in your body? So that, for me, wouldn't necessarily, it might be for a social media post, it wouldn't be enough of a thing for me to go, okay, what's this person about? What I would love to see here is, okay, what's their real issue? So what's going on for them? And obviously, okay, I might be feeling that I've got tension in my body. I do feel that I've got a bad back. But that's more what I'm going to be saying. Think about the words that your customer would use to describe their problem. So it might be, oh, have you got really bad back pain? Or are you taking time off of work because your back is hurting? Or are you, what was I going to say? And it doesn't have to be a question. It could be something along the lines of too much tension can stop you in your tracks. Here's how I can help. So the other thing in this is there's no real kind of call to action to take you to the next step, which is what you really want. You want to know, right, okay, so what do I do about it? What's next? And learn how to eliminate stress-related aches and pains. I do quite like, but that is definitely a practitioner saying stress-related aches and pains rather than a customer. We don't tend to walk around and go, oh, I've got this stress-related ache in my back. That's not something we tend to say. Or, oh, I've got this stress-related pain in my arm. We don't tend to say that as a person, we wouldn't say that, but we would go, oh my days, my shoulder's really hurting every time I work. So when you're thinking about the language that you're using, and yes, this relates to this website, but it also obviously relates to all of you, think about how your customer would talk about their problems. How would they describe what's going on for them? And like I said with the headlines earlier, what I said earlier about the headlines, you want to have a really clear one thing. It needs to be specific, completely specific to one person for this header. You can go further down the page and you could have other headers that say, have you got leg pain? Have you got back pain? Have you got shoulder pain? But what you want at the very top is something that's very, very clear to, this is the main issue that I struggle with. Yes. Yeah, I totally agree, Ezra. There's also the assumption that people are aware what tray means, whereas I feel it should be stated on the homepage. So absolutely, we want to be really clear about what the problem is, and then very, very clear further down about what the treatment is, but that's much further down. We want to hook the lizard brain with a really clear statement that says, this is what's going on for you. Like, this is what I'm about. this is how I help my specific person. Then you can go into more details further on. And this bit, wouldn't it be great if we had a tool to get rid of stress and tension and prevent, alleviate and heal ailments such as I see that so much. I've seen that a lot with coaches, different coaches or people who do a lot of stuff health related, that kind of thing. And I get it. You help with a lot of different issues. But you want to split that out. You want to make it so that it is like, you've made this page for me. Wow, I love it. You get me. That's how someone should feel when they look at your website. If they look at it and go, oh, well, I could have this issue and I could have that issue. Yes, they might self-identify and say, okay, yeah, I've got that issue. But they're not going to feel so invested. They're not going to feel so much like you get me. They're just going to feel like, oh, I'm just another number. Like, oh, I'm just another person. Don't know whether you're the right person to help me. We love a specialist. So really making sure that you're breaking down. If you do offer more than one thing, and I get it, a lot of this, a lot of you do, break it down. Have separate pages for separate issues, or have separate paragraphs for different ailments, just so that you really feel like this is for me, that you understand me, that you're talking my language, and that you understand my issues, not everyone's issue. And the other thing that I wanted to add on this one, and actually this came up with a different website, and I'm going to talk about it in a minute, is join me for exclusive updates. I don't know what that means. If I'm a first-time customer, what does exclusive updates mean? I don't know. And so when you are creating your email signups, and you should all on your home pages have somewhere where you can capture their email. The top is, just underneath your header is the best place. If you want it further down, because it makes sense further down, then have it further down. But you really want that to be very compelling about what I'm going to get. And again, it's that story of, okay, you get me. Do you understand what's going on for me? Do you know what my issue is? Do you know, are you going to give me, are you going to give me a discount? Or are you going to give me advice that's actually going to help me with my problem? So in this case, it could be, are you having problems? Are you having shoulder pain problems, or are you having body pain problems? You could say that generic. Are you having body pain problems? Here's my top 3 tips for staying flexible, or here's my top 3 tips for alleviating stress, for getting rid of stress. I mean, that could be an issue. But having something when they're subscribing that they know, right, this is why I'm signing up. There's a reason, there's a purpose. I'm not just going to receive sales pitch after sales pitch after sales pitch from this person. Yeah, I would agree. Alleviate and ailments are not. Cool. Yes, I like that. Alleviate and ailments, again, and are not words. You really want to think about, how would you talk about it with your friends, or how would you talk about it really with your ideal customers? But if you haven't, if you're very new in your business and you don't have customers yet, then how would you explain what you do to your friends and who it is that you're trying to find? How would you explain that to your friends? So that's the first one. And that's, as I say, that's kind of the main things I kind of wanted to highlight on that. And then the next one is this very beautiful website by Nana and Bell. I really love the design. I think it's really nice and it's really clean. The one thing that I didn't feel is really makes sense to me is this: our dog collection is the yin to your yang. It's a little it's a little on the cliche side. That it's just my thoughts. It might just be my personal opinion. You might look at it and go, no, I really like that. But the next point that I wanted to kind of point that out is this next section. And the reason I want to point this out is I have seen this so many times with product-based businesses. We have these amazing products and we want to talk all about how wonderful they are. Look, these products are great. And look, we've really put our all into it, and we've really put all of our effort into it. If I'm new to your website, I don't care. And I know that I don't want that to come across harshly, because I think it's an important piece to have later down or in your About Us page. It's an important thing to be getting across. But in this initial stage, when someone is very first landing on your website, what they really want to know is what's in it for me. Do you get me? Do I want to be part of your tribe? Is this a brand that I can buy into? Is this a product that's going to make me look cool? Like, you're looking for their desires. Like, what do they want to get out of buying your products? So if it's a gift, like this is, really, when we're giving gifts, we might not be honest about this, but if we're given a gift, we want to make the other person happy. That's what we want to do. We want to show someone else, look, I care, or look, I understand you, or like, look, we're close. That's what we're trying to get across when we're talking about a gift and we're giving gifts. So that's what we want to play into. It's the gift that's going to make you look good. And I don't mean that in a really like horror, like in a, I don't know, crass kind of way. And it's very much that's what we're doing when we're giving a gift. We want to look good. We want to know that what we've given was a good gift. We don't want to give bad gifts. No one wants to give a bad gift, So that's what we want. And so that's what we want to be saying in this first piece is, we don't want to say exactly this. Like I said, we don't want to say this is a gift that's going to make you look good, but this is a gift that is going to show the dog lovers in your life that you get them. Or this is the gift that is perfect for someone who loves, and you could pick out some of those dogs that are in here. So I'm just seeing poodles and Australian cattle dogs and that sort of thing. I might like to know who the dog is, what its name, etc. Yeah, I really love that. I love that. And you can tell, like, not straight away on that first hook, you can tell a really nice story. You can tell a really nice story about a dog that inspired you to create one of these pieces. And it was a maybe it was a customer's dog. Have doggy friends, love your dog. Like that. So yeah, you're really wanting to you can tell some really fun stories with this. As I say, you can tell stories about your customers' dogs. You could tell some fun stories about the dogs that are on here, what inspired them. There's so much good content that you could create here around those doggy stories and about what it means to someone to be a dog lover, because it does mean something to people. I have 2 dogs, and a cat person is not gonna talk to me the same way that I would talk about my dogs. And so that's what you want this story to be telling, is maybe your ideal customers, I'm just saying they might not be, but maybe your ideal customers are cat lovers who want to give their dog lover friends a gift. And so it's like, oh, this is how that you would relate to them. I'm going a little bit down the rabbit hole, but what I'm saying is that you want to be telling those stories. You want to be putting across what it means to give a gift. What is their desire when they're going to buy one of these products? And then later on, what are their fears? Like, what are their concerns? Like, their concerns might be, is this thing going to break? Like, is this thing going to break in the post? That's when the quality stuff comes in. That's the later on story. The later on story is about the quality and is about, how well these have been received and things like that. So there's a lot of products on this first page, and I would definitely narrow this down on this homepage. Perhaps putting it into collections. And this is more of a design feature than it is a copy feature. But what you could do is you could have some really fun sort of headers, like some fun doggy names for your collections. So maybe your mugs are all called, you know, they have a doggy, you know, a doggy name or something like that. Just to sort of get rid of all of this, because there's some nice sort of stuff down the bottom. Sustainability, I don't think that necessarily, unless that's a really important feature, in which case it shouldn't be hidden. That wants to be somewhere else. That wants to be on a different page. Again, if I'm buying something, I don't care about how the mugs are produced. Again, I think that's something that could be somewhere else. What I want to know is, as I say, that desire, how that's going to show that you get me. And finally, same thing with this newsletter. Sign up for our Pet Lovers Club to receive the latest news and exclusive offers straight to your inbox. So the first thing is right at the very top, we're talking about dog lovers. And then down here, we're on pet lovers. So I think this needs to be Dog Lovers Club, getting right into that specifics. But again, why? Yes, you said exclusive offers. We're not necessarily going to sign up for an exclusive offer. What we want is something that's going to happen straight away. Anything that creates a sense of urgency, genuine urgency, not fake urgency, is what is going to get someone to take that next step. So it could be sign up to get 10% off your next order. Or it could be, you know, sign up to our Pet Lovers Club and receive a free digital art of a range of dogs. I don't know, you need to think about what a dog lover would really love. But you want something that they can access straight away and tell them there in that point. And again, this doesn't want to be hidden right down on the bottom of the page. It wants to be somewhere further up, because the majority of people who come to your homepage are not going to buy on their first hit onto that homepage. The homepage is about creating an impression. It's about grabbing their attention. And if you can grab their email, great, even better, because then you've got a chance to communicate with them further. But really, the majority of the time, that this is where they're going to be going, to just get to know you a bit better. So you want that. And then finally, and again, this is a bit more of a design thing, what we'd love to see is lots of photos of people with their dogs. If I'm a dog lover, that's what's going to get me. You know, all of those viral videos that go viral are of dogs, cats, cute animals. Like a lot of them. Obviously, there's some other things, but we love our dogs. We love our animals. So show those in your marketing, because that's how you're going to get some attention. And then once you've grabbed that attention, then you can start to show them the products. So the other thing with this is thinking about the story. So you're starting, as I say, you're starting with that grabbing attention, and then you're moving them down this story that gets them closer and closer. So maybe they sign up for their email, and then they're like, yeah, okay, I'm understanding you more and more. Yeah, I'm relating to you more and more. Now I'm ready to buy. And obviously some people will buy earlier, but really what you're doing is you're telling stories that really say, I get you, I get you, I get you. This is for you, this is for you, this is for you. And then they'll buy. Or they'll opt out. But that's okay, because we want some people to opt out because they're not right for us and they're not right for our products. So that's what I wanted to say on this one. So I'm just going to have a quick look at the chat. Pooch Pal discount. I love that. That's really cute. Yeah. Sophie, definitely don't worry. I've just seen, so Sophie's put in the comments, my new website has gone live and I think my copy is rubbish. Don't say that. It's work in progress. It really is. Everything is a work in progress. And no one at all is going to get it right first time, because business is a journey. You start with one thing and you keep on moving and keep on moving and keep on moving, because you get to know your customers better. The more customers you have, the more you understand who are good customers or right customers for you and who are not great customers for you. So what I would suggest is that you keep on, the more you learn about your customers, the more you understand them. So in this example, the more you get into those heads of all those different types of dog owners, you're going to see actually there are certain dog owners who are more inclined to buy gifts than others. I can't tell you who they are because I don't have the, I don't have that research, but you will learn that as you go, but you won't know it from day one. So remember that copy is a journey. Understanding your audience, getting to know them better, it's a journey, but keep on doing these, keep on making these little shifts to grab that attention, to tell better stories, to practice telling stories, to be really showing your personality, refining your personality and understanding your customers. Then you're really going to start to move forwards with your copy, and it'll get better and better, and it will work. It'll improve. Are you suggesting product should be on another page and story on the first page? So there's nothing wrong with having products on the page. If you're a product-based company, you should have products on your homepage. But what I am saying is that you don't just want this mass of products. You want to break it up with headers. You want to break it up with a little bit of copy, quirky copy. I think, I don't know your audience, but this example, a little bit of quirky copy about these type of dogs, or, about these types of products, or about, like, I want to know more about this Labrador, for example. Like, what is he thinking? And for you, whoever, I don't remember your name, I'm really sorry, who runs Nana and Belle, get yourself on Instagram. There are so many dogs. My husband, that's all he uses his Instagram for, is to look at videos of dogs. That is literally all he uses his Instagram for. So, there are so many doggy quips and, fun things that you could add into this that would really show how much you get a dog owner and how much you speak their language. So that's what I'm saying. Deo is not, don't have any products. You're a product-based business, you want products. But you do want to be breaking it up. You do want to be making it so that people know that you understand them. Yeah, I'd love that too. Yeah, collection pages, absolutely. Yeah, Tracy, I love that as well. Cool. Okay, awesome. So that's this website. As I say, it's beautiful. But those are some things that I would say will really help your customers to really understand you and know that you get your customers. So the next one I wanted to move on to is a very, very different website altogether. So this is the Architect Studio. So as I say, completely different personality, completely different approach, completely different industry, and services and things like that. So what I wanted to say about this website, and I have had a flick through, I haven't just looked at the homepage, but I had a flick through, and some of these pages are quite hard to read, is the first thing. So it's not a copy point, it's a design point, but I find these blocks of text quite hard to read, especially because they're not on a clean background. So this is as I say, this is a design point more than a copy point, but they go hand in hand. Is that any writing that you have, you want it to be on the cleanest background that you can, and ideally you do not want pure white on pure black, because it's quite harsh for your eyes. So choose a slightly, if you're going to have black on white, choose a slightly off white and a slightly off black, just if you're going to have black on white. Generally, we tend to have color, but this way round, it's harsh for your eyes, which makes it even harder to read. And again, bigger font is what I would love to see. I didn't look on this on mobile, but I imagine unless it's responsive and it's made it a lot bigger, this would be very hard to read on mobile, but it's quite challenging to read just because it's quite small. So that's the first thing. As I say, it's not really a copy point, it's more of a design point, but it's all about the writing. So I was looking at this and I was thinking, what would my recommendation be? And so I had a little look at, I just typed in architects near me. Now, whoever's website that is, I'm not saying that your website has to look like any of these, but I looked through a few architects' websites that are close to me. And again, they'll have different audiences and, you know, they're for different clients and things like that. But a few of the things that I noticed are, look how simple and clean this one is, for example. Straight away, I get it. I get what you're about. That makes sense to me. And then as you go down, you've got these sections. Okay, that makes sense. It's clean, it's easy to read, it's easy to understand. The headers are very clean, cut to the point. So when you're thinking, again, this is going back to when you're thinking about your brand. So your personality, if your personality is in this professional realm, you don't want those cute, clever, funny quips. You want to be clean, clear, to the point. So this is great. This is clean, clear, to the point. Right, that bit's for me, that bit's for me, that bit's for me. So I can really see when I'm looking through this website, okay, that's what you're about. That's what you do. And that's the bit that's for me. And when you click on these pages, it's nicely, the text is nicely broken up. And again, this is more of a design thing than anything else, but it's very, very clear about that you get me. It's very clear about, right, okay, about us. Okay, so that's the story. I want to go on one of the service pages rather than about us. So look, I love a good call to action. So having a call to action, so look, arrange an appointment right at the very start, especially for a sales page. Any sales page, you want that call to action button right at the very top. You want it further down as well, depending on how long your page is. You definitely want it further down at least once. But having that clear call to action is great for the people who have looked on your website 5 times and already know they want to buy from you. So that's great. But breaking up the text, see the difference? Oh, it's not going to let me go that. Breaking up the text a bit more, just with that spacing, a little bit less. Like, this is very chunky. This is very chunky to read text, whereas this text is much more broken up. So it's a lot easier and simpler to read. You've got those paragraphs. Here you've got steps, so that I'm not having to look at all this text at once, because our eyes will, and again, this is design, but if you are not designing so that your copy is easy to read, you could write the best copy in the world, but someone's not actually going to read it. So making sure that you're using headers. You don't have to have this fancy thing. Like, this is quite nice because it means that I'm not looking at all the text at once. But as long as you've got these nice, clean, clear, easy to read headers, can really, can really help. And when I'm giving this advice, I want you to think about your brand. So if you are in the professional realm, then you're going to want these clean, clear things. If you are, if you've got a funnier, a quirkier brand or something like that, then these can be a little bit more fun. You could come up with fun names for them, like we were talking about with the dog website. You can come up with some kind of cutesy names for your collections, for example. But with this, you want to be very clear so that people understand what it is that you are doing and making it interesting for your mind. Sorry, I'm just going to put, yeah. There's a longer session. Eve, I love that you've requested a part 2. We'll have to see. Yeah, absolutely. It does go back to the first point about what words you would want your customers. Cool. Yeah, so that's what I think. I'm just going to have a look at the other ones. That was the first thing I wanted to highlight. But again, with this other one, you've got these very clean, clear headers. And again, this is what we do. This is what this is. This is how you get to the next step. What I got a little bit lost in was this is what's my next step? Yes, there will be a level of assumed knowledge, because perhaps if I've got a listed residential property, I might know some of this stuff, but I think it's quite possible that I might not. I might just have bought a listed residential property, and I look at this and go, I've got no idea what that means. And so really making it so that the steps will really absolutely make sense to your customer, and they know, right, okay, if I'm at this step, what do I do next? If I'm at that step, what do I do next? If I'm at that step, what do I do next? You know, if I've got budgeting issues, what's one step? Sometimes the next step that we want someone to take isn't necessarily buying. Sometimes a next step can be that we give them a worksheet. It can be that we give them, a next step that we can give could be like a workbook or a guide, or tell them to read an article, because actually we want to make sure that we are doing the work that we are absolutely best at. And there might be, and I don't know because I do not know this industry at all, there might be some steps that someone could take before they actually reach out and contact you as this person. So really thinking about that as well as you're going through each of these stages. Is important. This could be the info discussing the content rather than giving it away up front. Yeah, absolutely, Eve, that potentially could be. That is true. Sorry, I can just see someone's got their hand up. Oh, no, no longer has their hand up. Okay, hopefully I answered your question. Brilliant. Sorry, I'm just trying to check the chat as well. Oh, Jenny.
Oh, I can unmute myself. How exciting.
There we go. Yes.
Hello.
I press the magic button to allow it.
Hello. I've just eaten my lunch, so sorry if I've got lentils on my face. I was going to ask, what are your thoughts on the kind of challenge of writing for SEO rather than writing for, say, storytelling or whatever? Because sometimes I find with SEO, they just want you to kind of put in the same phrases over and over and over again, and it actually gets quite boring. Have you got any thoughts on that or any tips?
Yes, so I would say that it really depends. So have a look at your search traffic and see how much of are those keyword packed blogs actually getting you the SEO that you want. Because what you may find is that because they are so jam-packed with these keywords, they're not actually getting someone to the next step, because people are looking at it and yes, they found you on search, but actually they went, oh, that's a really boring article, I'm not interested. So definitely my tips on the SEO, and I'm not an SEO expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I do have an awareness of it to be able to kind of give you a bit of an answer. An SEO specialist may give you a different answer, but my thoughts would be to balance it. So use your headers to have, those keyword phrases. My understanding is that Google is more clever than we realize. So use phrases that are very similar. So you don't have to repeat the exact same phrase again and again and again and again, Google will understand if you use it in a slightly different way or you say it slightly differently. That's my understanding. So again, play with using a similar sort of phrase, but just phrased phrased differently. And also I would think about your audience, like really think about your audience, because there's no point you writing blogs that get people to your website, but they're not actually doing anything for you, or writing content that isn't actually doing anything for you. So I think there's a balance to be had between the two. What I also say is make sure that any blog that you write has a next step. So has a call to action. So could be a free download, could be a sign up to my email newsletter for whatever reason to get this discount or something like that. You want your content to be coaching for the next step. And you can really go for it with the story, with the storytelling and the copywriting, because that's not really going to influence it. But that is what is going to make that SEO more efficient. So because you're actually doing something with that traffic that's coming to your website. So hopefully that's giving you some ideas on the SEO front. Is my 2 cents is pepper it in lightly. Keep good storytelling is going to be much more powerful for you than a boring article written, and I'm not saying you're writing boring articles, by the way, but a boring article written just for search, just peppered with keywords, is not going to do anything for you. A well-written article that has some good storytelling, that's broken up nicely with headers, you want some nice headers broken up in there, and using those to have the SEO parts, and that's going to be much more efficient for you and making sure you got that call to action at the end. That will be much more efficient for you. So hopefully that helps. Cool. Bianca. Hopefully I'm pressing the right button for you. Oh, there we go. Oh, I'm trying to unmute you, Bianca.
Oh, hello.
Oh, there we go.
Hi, thank you. My question was, so I deliver workshops for teen mothers and young mothers.
Yeah.
So the workshops are surrounded around finance, maternity, education, mental welfare, and housing. It's really just to empower and educate. So for my website, I don't know, like, how if I would keep it like professional or personal, because of how I'm kind of interacting with my audience. Because the reason why I say that is because they are my like primary customers, but the people that are paying are local authorities, so libraries, universities, schools, the NHS. They're the ones that are paying for the workshops for the young mums, but
Okay.
my other clients are the young mums. They're the end user, really.
Yeah.
So I don't know how my page is supposed to look, because I've got to attract both.
Yeah. So we do that at Rebel. Here at Rebel, everyone here, well, not necessarily everyone, but the majority of people here are from the Rebel alumni. So we, as Rebel Business School, target people. So we have a very friendly, rebellious brand, hence why we're called Rebel Business School. But all of our courses are funded by councils, housing authorities, very professional organisations. So what I would say is the text is going to be different for both of them. So what I care about as a young mum coming to one of your courses is very different to what I care about as a local authority who is looking to fund one of these courses. But I think there is a meet in the middle between you can be fun but still be professional. And that's the line that we at Rebel play. We play this balancing act between having that playful, cheeky approach to our copy, while still having a professional, being able to speak their language. So it is about the language that you're using. So I would say that your homepage very much wants to be tailored to your mums. So it, it really wants to be understanding of what they want, what they need, what their fears are, what their desires are. And then you'll have a separate page or series of pages, if you like, which is about your funders, the people who are funding. And you're going to be talking a very different language. You're going to be talking, you're going to be talking about results. You're going to be talking about outcomes. You're going to be talking about how your courses are supporting a community, how they're supporting the community that you're serving, how they are getting those good outcomes for those people, what impact that they're having, that kind of thing. It's going to be the language. So they're going to be two separate things, but you want to find that middle ground of not being too over friendly. I think not being too over friendly, so that you can maintain some level of professionality. I'm starting to lose my words now. But yeah, so I'd say you want that balance. That's what I'm trying to say. Does that help, Bianca?
Hi, yeah, thank you so much for that. I also wanted to say, is there any way here that we can send anyone at Rebel like our websites for people to check it, or is that a service you offer?
So have you been to a Rebel course before?
No, this is my first time today.
Workshop. Okay, cool. I'm going to drop my email. Actually, I'm not going to drop my email. What am I trying to say? I'm going to drop you my email, and then if you pop me over an email, then I'm not going to review your website, but I will send you some details about the next Rebel courses, because the Rebel courses have a lot of information about how to do your website. We've got a whole website day. So, and if you can't attend the whole course, you can just attend the website day. So that will really help you with creating that website in a way that's helpful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sorry about the noise. Thank you.
Wow. Okay, perfect. So I think I'm just looking at time. Suddenly I was like, yeah, I've got loads of time. And then suddenly I'm just looking at the time and we've run very much over. Is the website day on every Wednesday? It's not every Wednesday, Anna, but it is on the first Wednesday of each course is the website day in the course. In the Rebel alumni Facebook group, Rebel Plus. If you've been to one of our Rebel courses, then there is Website Wednesday, when you can share your website in the Facebook group. Thanks, Jenny. I would totally agree. Deo, just very quickly on your answer, Deo said, can you give an example of the call to action for the funders and the stakeholders? Yeah, book a call to discuss. Yeah, if you want to, okay, brilliant. I'm glad you've all found it useful. Okay, so finally, sorry, I'm not going to get onto that fourth one, but I will message them individually. Like I said, if you are in the Rebel Plus Facebook group, then you have the opportunity for me to review some of your copy, and I will send you, I'll send you a little bit of feedback. Sorry, I'm just trying to get back to my presentation. So I just wanted to leave you, and I will make sure that you guys get this as well. With a couple of, these are all free copy resources. The middle one's not free, but the rest of them are. So these are some additional copy resources that I wanted to leave you with. So the first one is the Copy Blogger podcast. That's what it says on the tin. Copy Bloggers is a big website a group of people, a couple of people who they write copy and they teach people how to write good copy. So that's the first one. The next one is Laura Bell Gray, who is the copywriter whose examples I gave you throughout, who writes some really nice copy, and it's well worth being on her emails because her email list gives you some really great ideas for storytelling, call to actions. If you're going to be doing launches, there's some great stuff in there. So yeah, really, her emails are a masterclass. Then a great book, especially for when you're getting started with building those stories, is Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. And this is a great, it's a really great intro to, it talks about the hero's journey. So it's that big dramatic story that I was talking about. But you can use that framework to build lots of different types of stories. It doesn't just have to be that big dramatic story. And also in that book, it will help you come up with those ideas around your personality and that story that you would love for people to, you'd love for people to be saying about you. The next one is someone who is great for social media stories, which is Jasmine Starr. She has her own, her website is a membership site all about captions. So she has to write good captions. So yeah, she has some great stuff on her Instagram. And finally, if you are in a more professional space, HubSpot is great for giving you great copywriting tips. As I say, they're mainly more focused on a more professional, traditional B2B. They have quite a friendly approach, but it is a more traditional background. So that's HubSpot for you. So that's just a few extra resources for, we didn't want that to happen, for you to take a look at. So I'm just going to copy these into the list. Oh, no, I'm not. I'll make sure you guys get a copy of those resources. Sorry, I meant to copy those so that you would have them. Glad you've all had a good time. Do share on if you've enjoyed today, if you found today valuable, please share on your social medias. Let everyone know what good time you've had. Share what you've learned with other people. And also let us know about what your biggest takeaways are. Love to hear them in the Facebook groups. Sophie, get some sleep. It sounds good. I hope you found this valuable. And hopefully I will see you all again soon. So bye.